Bills fans, I'm not even going to attempt to lie to you. I'm not going to tell you a white lie. I'm not going to tell you a partial lie. The truth is, this is likely the worst season y'all will have in the last 5 years.
Shut up, the Bills! It's not outside! It's not outside!
Yeah, we the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, we the Buffalo Bills. You better know that. Look how we throwing and catching, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. You better know that. Look how we running and hitting, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. Reppin' the mafia, yeah. Reppin' the mafia, Bills, mafia, yeah. You better know that. Look how we throwing and catching, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. You better know that. Look how we running and hitting, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. Homie, now listen, everyone play their position. Buffalo got a tradition. They say we tripping, they better get out our way. Top of the table, we flipping. We on a mission. Got an unstoppable team. Continue to follow your dream by any means. Buffalo, get in the Super Bowl ring. Cause we the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, we the Buffalo Bills. You better know that. Look how we throwing and catching, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. You better know that. Look how we running and hitting, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. Reppin' the mafia, yeah. Reppin' the mafia, Bills, mafia, yeah. You better know that. Look how we throwing and catching, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. You better know that. Look how we running and hitting, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. Mafia up in your city, time to get gritty. Screaming and yelling, we bugging. Look at the red and blue.
This is an MVP year for Josh Allen. As an MVP voter, I said this last week. Josh Allen, he looks like an MVP. When you vote for MVP, and I can speak for myself, I think I'm one of 50 voters, you look at a couple things. Who's the best team in football? Who's the best player on that team in football? What do they look like as the best player on that team in football? And how much talent is around that best player on that best team in football?
Cause we the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, we the Buffalo.
And a good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Coast to Coast podcast here, Wednesday, March 18th, 2026. I am your co-host, Beyond716, along with the one and the only Whittle 2K. And tonight, what we're going to do is we're going to go really into all free agency frenzy is really kind of winding down now. You still see some moves here and there. And we're going to really get into how we think we did. How the Buffalo Bills looking after the first wave of this offseason. We talked a lot about the draft that's going to be coming up, but the first layer of it is free agency, filling some of the big holes that we have, which also makes our draft a little bit clearer in terms of who we're going to target. So we'll get deep into that today. But before we begin, ladies and gentlemen, if you have been on this network and if you've been listening to us, we want to say we want to give you all love. We appreciate all of you that come here, like and subscribe to us. Please follow us at Do Champions. We're going to have some great shows coming up. And by the way, a teaser, Whittle, resurrection of some Saber podcasts coming up. So that's coming up soon. The hottest team in sports right now, ladies and gentlemen. So I leave that alone for now. But for tonight, we have to press. There's a major topic to discuss right now. And Whittle, as long as I've known you and as long as we've known you, I want the reaction to when you were on your phone, tablet, or whatever, and you saw this tweet. And when the word former was in front of that for AJ Epineza, and now he is now a member of the Cleveland Browns. We know how you feel about AJ Whittle. I want to give you the floor here on how you're feeling about this right about now.
Man, I don't want to cry on camera, but
Yeah.
AJ was one of my favorites.
Yeah, I know he was for sure.
Yeah, I was very, 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 very happy when we drafted him. I thought that, he was going to be the power rusher on the other side of a speed guy like Jerry Hughes or whatever. And he kind of grew and turned into a player that I didn't know that he could become, which was more of a technique-based edge guy. Very, very smart, physical, somewhat physical, somewhat powerful, somewhat a technician. I think he was more of a technician than anything else.
Mhm.
Uh, I truly enjoyed AJ Epinesa as a Buffalo Bill. I mean, there are tons of highlights. Uh, what's up, dog? Tons of highlights, tons of big plays that AJ made. Um, I go back to the Washington game where all the hoopla was. We're going into the 2-0 uh, Commanders building, and
Those
they were
spaces, never forget them.
Spaces was kind of crazy that week, and AJ kind of took over that game defensively.
Mhm.
He had a couple of sacks, I believe. He had an interception. Um,
Mhm.
he just had like a great game.
Sure did.
The game against the Bengals this past year, you know, he had the interception to kind of ice the game. Um, there's a ton of plays that over his tenure he made. I never really felt like he got the full opportunity to show what he could do. I never thought that he got an opportunity to really play as much as I would have liked. I would have loved to see AJ get 70% of the snaps at defensive end, but he
Mhm.
never did for whatever reason. Um, it is what it is. But here we are, and he's going over to a really good situation in Cleveland with Jim Schwartz, still the
Mhm.
DC there. Uh, Monken, a head coach, so I think they'll appreciate the player that he is. He signs a 1 year, up to $5 million deal. I think AJ is going to have a really solid season. If he ended up getting in, I wouldn't shock at all. He ended up getting himself as a starter and earning a multi-year deal for Cleveland.
Will you break it up just a little bit, brother?
Better-
No, still I cannot. Sorry. You're still fading out. Can if anybody could let me know if you could hear Whittle, maybe I just want to make sure it's not my mic as well. Dog, if could you hear Whittle when he was just talking? Just wanted to make sure there wasn't anything. I think our StreamYard, our service here has been giving us some fits, so that's for sure. So yeah, and, there you go, Whittle. You're back. There we go.
Um, so yeah, I mean that's just he's one of my favorites. Like him, Milano, um, Trey White, like those were
Yeah.
Edmonds, like those were some of my favorite. Motor, Singletary, Devin
Yeah.
Singletary, those were some of my favorite Buffalo Bills. Cole Beasley, like a lot of guys that are just no longer here. But it is a business. I'll continue to cheer for him. It's not like he went to
Mhm.
the Chiefs
Thank
or
goodness. Yes.
or the Broncos or something, or the Eagles or something like that. Like where I could, I can't root for him more. He didn't sign with the Jets or the Dolphins or the Patriots. So I mean,
Mhm.
we're good. I'm gonna continue to cheer and root for AJ now that he's a member of the Cleveland Browns. I wish him the best.
Absolutely. You mentioned something interesting, Will. I see some tweets out there say, well, he was a mediocre player. He only had 6 sacks, but he Pro Football Reference, he had 44% of the Bills defensive snaps in 2025. If you give AJ a normal, snap count, maybe he has 8, 9 sacks, and we're not having this conversation. Maybe he's still on the Bills, but yeah, I think the thing that surprised, I guess it really speaks volumes, is that 1 year, 5 million for a guy that kind of felt like he was pretty happy in Buffalo, right? Didn't feel like he was unhappy here. So it's not like he took a multi-year deal to leave or anything. So I guess it's just one of those things, with the scheme change and with the defensive coordinator change, these things are going to happen, unfortunately. But Yeah, I agree with you. We wish AJ well. I really he had some big plays. He's a very, very solid player. Second round pick, right? I believe out of Iowa he is. So, he was he was a very good Buffalo Bill. He was an above average player for us, and he had some really good moments. And we certainly wish AJ well. So that was something we were kind of waiting to see, maybe if with restructures of some of these contracts, if we were going to bring some of these guys back. Do you think you mentioned Matt Milano? Do you see a scenario where Matt Milano comes back, or do you think we're waiting, or you think he's waiting, or what do you think's going on there?
I think Milano's going to end up retiring.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's going to end up announcing his retirement. I think him, Trey White, I think some of these guys are waiting to see what happens in the draft with Buffalo and where we end up at the end of, the roster building process. I think the door's still open for those guys to come back, but it depends on the draft, man. And who knows how the draft plays out. Bean does a really good job in the later rounds of getting gems, getting guys that can come in and play. So we'll find out by day 3, man. We'll find out by day 3 what the roster is looking like and potentially where we end up. As far as these lovable Bills, man. Suck to see some of these guys go, man. I'm not. I don't know. I guess I'm not ready for. I'm ready for change. Just like sometimes you just get attached to players, man. And some of my favorites are gone, man. They are.
Absolutely agree. We're fans first, and there's certain players I'd love to see, retire Buffalo Bill. Like a guy like Dawson Knox is a guy that if he went to another team, I'd have a hard time with it. I mean, obviously Josh and some others, but some of those other guys, you really want to see them stick it out here. So like Trey White's, players like that, those core guys that really been a big part of almost, the last 8-9 years of this phenomenal run from the Buffalo Bills. So we wish AJ well, and we move forward, but this was a week where, it wasn't that quiet. The Bills had some movement. And there is a trade that I wanted to tie into the Buffalo Bills as well. We'll get your opinion on it as well. The Jalen Waddle deal to Denver, right? We all know about the first round, third round, fourth round pick. After seeing that, do you feel a little bit better about the compensation that the Bills had to give up for DJ Moore? Or is that still that it doesn't like, do you think Jalen Waddle is worth that much more than a DJ Moore? I mean, I just want to get your opinion on that.
Yeah, no, I don't think he's worth that much more, but I still don't like having to give up a second round pick.
Okay.
For DJ Moore. I do think DJ Moore is a more complete receiver than Waddle is, but at the same time, Waddle's a little younger. I think he's younger by like a year.
Yeah.
And I believe him and DJ Moore make around the same amount of money. I don't know. I mean, it does make the DJ Moore trade look better. It does.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. At least it's not like we massively overpaid. I would probably word it that way. If you kind of look at, I guess that's just a going rate, and we'll see if maybe AJ Brown gets traded, and we'll see how much he's going to fetch on the market. So,
yeah, but honestly, like when I look at that deal, like, what's the big difference between? I mean, what's the big difference between the players, DJ Moore and Jalen Waddle? I mean, I think Waddle, has had more highlights, and he's been more of a household name because of how polarizing Tua and Tyreek Hill and the Dolphins have been. And then, the proximity of, the proximity of the Dolphins, because we're Bills fans. So we're paying more attention to the Dolphins than we are the Chicago Bears. So DJ Moore is kind of out of sight, out of mind. But when you look at the numbers and the play, I mean, DJ Moore has been, if not as, more than more productive. If not more, if not more productive, he's been as productive as Jalen Waddle has been over the last few years. So I'm fine with the deal. I understand that we need to do something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily love this move, or I don't necessarily love the move, but I understand the move. I accept the move. I am expecting big things. I want to look back on this and say, wow, we really got a steal when we got, we got more. But yeah, I think Denver overpaid for Waddle, but they have a great defense. They got a lot of pieces on that offense that are under contract and locked in or not making any money. They're not paying the quarterback. They can afford to go all in. They can afford to overpay for a receiver that they think can take them over the top. So, kudos to them. We're still better, but kudos to them.
I like that. Yeah, there we go. That's what I like to hear. Definitely. So yeah, so that was something that kind of caught my attention, kind of playing into what the Buffalo Bills have been doing so far. So we also made another big signing this past week, Whittle. We made a big move at safety. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, or C.G. Was it C.J.G.J.? I mean, that's a mouthful sometimes. 1-year deal, up to $6 million. And I got to tell you, from my vantage point, I was real excited about this move. And it kind of led to something you said last week. We need goons, right? And in a sense of, we need that
we need players with an edge.
With an edge, we need that edge, that fire, that it just completes the roster, keeps people on their toes on the roster, keeps their teammates. So I want to get your thoughts on that in terms of scheme fit as well.
Well, I mean, we've made a number of moves. It wasn't just C.J. Gardner-Johnson, but we signed him and Geno Stone as well. It tells you exactly what they want to do. Like, you're seeing what they did in Denver. They ran a lot of 3 safety looks. Well, now we have 3 safeties. Bishop, CJ on another side, and then right there in the middle is probably going to be Geno Stone playing a deep third, which he's pretty comfortable with. Not necessarily, he doesn't necessarily have the athleticism to be a deep half safety, but a deep third safety, he's flourished in that role. And I did say goons, but I do want to clean my language up a little bit because I don't want the negative connotation of criminal or criminality or I don't want any negative connotation attached to C.J. Gardner-Johnson. I don't view him as that type of player. He's a feisty guy. He's a
yes.
He plays with an edge. He plays with a certain I don't want to say bravado, but a certain intensity that we lacked on this team. So I do want to tip my cap a little bit to Brandon Beane and to the new defensive coordinator Jim Leonhard for not being afraid to go grab guys like that may have a bit of a checkered past as a player. What has he been on 3 teams in the last 2 years, 3 or 4 teams in the last 2 years? With this one, I believe it was Chicago, Houston, Philly.
Philly won a Super Bowl with Philly, right? Yeah.
Texas, Texans. And now with us, I think it was on Detroit as well. So we talking about 6 teams in like the last 2 years. And a couple of those teams he didn't even play for. Like he just signed to the team for whatever reason it didn't work out, and that was out of it. I don't want to rush judgment.
Yeah, but you mentioned that word goon, right? I think about that in hockey terms, right? And sometimes on the defense, and it's not a really one-to-one comparison, but when you have one of those guys on your hockey team and that guy could step on the ice and stick up for someone, and you think twice about maybe being a little physical with a player. Right now, Buffalo's got a guy in our defense say, hey, the other team's going to say, hey, CJ Gardner-Johnson's over there. If our receiver, like if we do something to one of their players, maybe CJ Gardner-Johnson, he plays with that edge. They're going to think twice about that because he'll make that big play or that big hit on their receiver. So those things do matter. I really believe that. And I think his teammates are going to appreciate that he's sort of going to have their back out there. And that's that whole edge and feistiness that we really needed, right? And I was really, really, really happy with that move.
Yeah. Another Florida DB. We have not had the best of luck with those guys as of late, but
good time for change.
Well, I can't even say Florida players. Cyrus Torrance went to Florida, so I think we're good. But
yes,
Justin Shorter and Kyrie Elam obviously.
Oh boy, Justin Shorter, yeah,
those guys didn't work out. But listen, I like what CJ is, man. Like CJ is kind of what we've been missing, which is a deep free safety. He's got the coverage instincts to go and find the football. That's the other thing I love about Geno Stone. 2 years ago, Geno Stone, 2 years ago for the Ravens had like 8 or 9 interceptions, something like that.
Yeah, he did.
Something crazy, somewhere around there. CJ Gardner-Johnson, I mean, he's probably the only other player outside of not wearing a Buffalo Bills jersey over the last few years that I've seen go for the peanut punch all the time. Like him and Jermaine Pratt. Every tackle, like they're trying to punch the football out. I appreciate that about CJ Gardner-Johnson because he's trying to take the football away. Now, some of that, with that comes the risk of missed tackles. And I think he has a pretty high missed tackle rate. I think it's somewhere around 15 to 16. I believe it might even be 17%. I can't remember. I think Alex said it was like 17%. I haven't had a chance to fact check, but I don't need to because Alex gives good information. Yeah, I think it's like 17%. That's a high missed tackle rate for a safety. The position safety, last line of defense for the defense. So if you have a high missed tackle rate there, it's not a good thing. But the Buffalo Bills as a team have had a high missed tackle rate for years now. So, I think it's fine. I think he's a guy that's going to help us take the ball away. It's going to fit right into what Jim Leonhard said. We're going to be an aggressive defense. We've got a great offense, and we're going to try to get them as many opportunities to score points as possible. That means taking the football, not just getting off the field on third down. So, about that. Great move.
Absolutely. So we've like I said, we've had a fairly busy week. We did sign, I said Geno Stone, that 1-year deal. I like that too. I mean, it really was nothing, right? I think it was like $1.5 million, maybe something along those lines.
Yeah.
Of
actual money. The rest is going to be like incentives, things like that. Another good move. I thought he wasn't the greatest with the Bengals last year, but he gave us hell when we played the Bengals. I mean, Geno Stone was everywhere. We played the Bengals. Him and Joseph Ossai, they were everywhere. So, which is, why I would like one of the Bills to sign Joseph Ossai. But where did he go? I think he went to the Jets.
I think so, yeah.
I think it was the Jets. Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, me too.
That was when he was with the Lions. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, man. And this team has lacked that type of attitude.
Bite. Yeah. Yep.
It's good, man. I mean, it's good to have that. I think, and one thing that stood out to me was when he was interviewed and they said, I don't remember who it was. They asked me, said, "What do you coming to Buffalo? Like, what do you think? What do you think you bring to the table?" He says, "I've been to the mountaintop. And sometimes when you're trying to get over the edge, you need somebody that's already been there. And I've been there. I know what it takes to get it done." So that's what I'm bringing to this team.
That's what I'm talking
Trying to
about.
come in and win a Super Bowl. Everybody says it, but he doesn't strike me as the type. I mean, there are certain players that you look at and you say, well, that's just player talk. I think he's one of those guys that, you know,
He walks that
doesn't
walk,
bite
so to
him.
speak, right? He
Yeah,
walk.
yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
I agree.
For sure.
I agree. Yep.
I think there's a little wager on who he gets into a fight with first, between Spencer Brown or Alec Anderson. I think it's going to be Anderson first.
Yeah, it just has got to be the favorite. I mean, that's got to be like 1-to-1 odds at this point. I may have Spencer Brown at like 3-1, but he may be a good pick.
Yeah,
but Dion might be a sleeper, but I would probably be willing to say it's going to be Dion once in a while to get feisty, but not. It's definitely going to be Alec or it's going to be Spencer Brown. I'm pretty sure.
yeah. In other news as well, the Buffalo Bills. I don't want to say former yet because I think we have a few days to match. But Ryan Van DeMark, offensive tackle, was signed to an offer sheet by the Minnesota Vikings. So we can match whatever they offered him, and then he remains with us. I don't know what the offer is. I've heard more than $3.5 million.
I've heard out there 4.2 million, but I don't know if that's confirmed or not, Whittle. I thought Sal tweeted something about that at one time, but I don't believe we're in line for compensation if we do deny it. Whittle, I think it has to be five something, I believe, to get to that level. So
I thought, I don't know. I don't know the intricacies of that.
Yeah, I can't get a straight answer. Yeah.
But it depends on what he was signed to. He was signed to if he was signed to a draft pick tender, then if he signed, we get that draft pick. But if he was signed to a first right of refusal contract, we just have the right to match. And if we don't, then the other team assignment gets the player. I think that's what he signed up. First right refusal. So
Kevin Massari Massari brought up something interesting that maybe we should call the Vikings and say, let's give us like a 7th, maybe day 3 pick. And we otherwise we'll say yes, we'll keep them, like maybe force them to make a decision. See if that, I'm not sure if they would do that, but I agree with what Kevin's premise was, is that why not make the call? Why not just, play a little game with the Vikings GM and say, listen, if you really want them, fork me over 7, right? Give me a 7th round pick or something.
That's not a game. That's a savvy move. You call them and say, hey, listen, we are willing to part with the player, but you got to give us a 6th round pick, or we're going to sign him and we're going to match, and then, and you get nothing. Yep. Or, you can give us the draft pick and you get the player at at the $3.5 million tender.
Yep.
So that
we'll see.
That is smart. Kevin should work in the GM though.
Yeah, he should be for sure. So I thought that was that some fans are going back at him, and Kevin's right. He says, why not make the call? I mean, I'm curious if that is made. I'd love to ask Bean that question, and say, was there a call made? Did you ask for some compensation?
You think
if they decide not to?
Did he answer that question?
Probably not, but listen, it's worth a shot. Whittle,
he'd say that's a question. That's a question for the Minnesota GM.
Yeah, he'd say that's a good question, Whittle. That's what he would do. He always does something like that, right? He goes into his point. Oh man, then go pop on Pat McAfee.
So, Beyond, how are you feeling so far? I mean, we trade for DJ Moore. We bring in Bradley Chubb, bring in Geno Stone, re-sign the punter, bring in Kyle Allen. Re-sign Connor McGovern, CJ Gardner-Johnson, D. Alford, all of these moves that were made.
I would say,
how do you feel about?
I would say, you know what? If you want me to give you a grade, on everything in its totality, I would give it close to a B plus. I'm not ready to give this an A yet, for sure, because there's still I consider the offseason everything in terms of the draft, in terms of offseason. But I think we're off to a really, really good start. I mean, we did address our number one receiver, which again is going to move guys like Coleman into better positions. Guys like, maybe even Josh Palmer, if we keep him, a Shakir. We've talked about that at nauseum, but that's going to help. And keeping McGovern at a lower rate compared to what some of these other centers got was excellent work by Bean, and a credit to McGovern as well for taking a little bit less. Dawson Knox, he's one. I know that's another Whittle favorite, by the way. It's one of your favorites for sure, and one of mine as well. Just a great locker room guy. Never complains. When we drafted Kincaid, just does his job and he does it well. So I want to see him part of this organization. So I'm very happy he did that. The one move I was a little on was the Kyle Allen move. I mean, I'm not crazy about Kyle Allen. I just don't think he's very good. I still would rather the Bills maybe go into the draft at some point and maybe take one of these quarterbacks and see if you catch lightning in a bottle, Will, right? I mean, we've seen teams do it before. You and I spoke about Joe Milton a couple years ago, and maybe he would be a good fit for the Bills because look at his skill set. He's kind of like a Josh Allen. He's a big guy. He's got a can of an arm. Like, maybe they could groom him into something. And I was thinking that would be a pretty good move. But unfortunately, the Bills seem to be really, hell-bent on bringing in a friend of Josh. Like just in retrospective, look at the Chiefs getting Justin Fields. I thought that was a very nice move by the Chiefs. I mean, with Andy Reid. Well, listen, if there's going to be somebody that's going to resurrect Justin Fields, it's going to be Andrew Walter Reed. I mean, I'll leave it at that. But you know what I mean? I mean, all I'm saying is you never know with Justin Fields. He had some flashes before. I mean, it's not a bad roll of the dice, I guess, is what I'm getting at. But Kyle Allen, to me, I mean, Whittle, I'm sorry. I am just not a fan of Kyle Allen's game. But that's just me. Heck, I'd rather see Bouchel as the backup at this point. But I'll digress on that. And then quickly on the defense, I mean, Bradley Chubb, I really like the contract. Very solid. We pivoted from maybe Hendrickson. Who knows how deep we were into that? Who knows if we're still in on Max Crosby? I mean, I doubt we are, but we may have. But we said, hey, we're going to go this route. Very solid, very responsible contract in this market. We did talk about Stone and Gardner Johnson, and D. Alford was a very solid nickel move. And so I think overall about a B plus. Yeah, I figure we're on the right track. I mean, we could see what our needs are, and I know we're going to get deep into that over the next month as we pivot to the draft, and I'm looking forward to it. And everybody out there, come on back because Whittle's going to get deep in his bag on this draft. So it's going to be awesome. So definitely look forward to that coming up. So how about you, Whittle? How are you feeling overall so far about where we sit on this March 18th?
I think Brandon Beane's done an effective job of having a team ready to go out there and play a football game. I think if we were to start, if someone was to walk up to the Buffalo Bills and say, hey, you guys got to play a football game next week, we could do it. I think we have enough. I think we have enough on the roster right now to play a football game, and I think we're a really good football team right now. Offensive line, the left guard spot's currently open. I think Alec Anderson could slot right in there, and I don't think that would be an issue. Worst case scenario, even if let's just say you wanted to go with, I don't know, McGovern at left guard, Van Pran Granger at center. You could do that too. But the tight ends are locked in.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I don't know that name. I haven't looked at quarterback because maybe I Josh Allen. But I should.
I like the idea though.
Yeah. That's the other thing. Like I was going to mention, I wouldn't be shocked if the Bills use the day 3 pick that they pick up through, some sort of trade or moving back or moving around at some point, and use it on a quarterback that they want to try to develop. It wouldn't shock me at all. I think Kyle Allen stinks. I think Justin
No,
Fields.
it's just always
I don't
you're
see the
right.
big difference. I don't see
Yeah,
the big difference.
maybe I'm overrating the Fields move, but I just thought it was interesting.
Yeah, I think Fields is terrible. I do. I think the best thing Fields to do right now is consider switching positions. Being honest, I don't see him as a quarterback at all. So, yeah, but I think Bean's done a good job. I think he's done a good job of getting us ready to play a football game. But the draft is there. We still have some holes on this team that we could fill with guys that are still free agents. There's an issue with the depth, I think, still that we need to figure out. So all the major holes have been kind of taken care of. Like if we needed to go out and play a football game with the linebackers we have, Terrell Bernard and Dorian Williams would be our linebackers. Bradley Chubb and Gregory Rousseau would be on the outside, and we would have Deion Walker, Ed Oliver, and T.J. Sanders on the inside. That's just the way it would work. And then obviously the secondary is full. The offers a nickel. We've got safeties to go with Cole Bishop and our guys on the outside, Max Harrison and Christian Benford. The defense is complete. In the offense, you got your wide receivers. You solidify 1 through 5. You have your tight ends. The running back room is complete. The offensive line's good. We can roll the football out and play tomorrow. Tyler Bass is still here. We have a punter. We have a long snapper. We have a return guy, Cole Harbin. We have guys. By Darian Mathis, defensive tackle depth. We'll see what happens with Carter this year. We have what we need in order to play a football game. I just think we need to continue to add good players on the bench. Good players on the bench, potential starters, guys that may be able to come in and snatch a starting job away. So I think he's done a good job so far, but the job's not done. It's not finished. Like Kobe said,
that's right.
Done. So, he's not a lock in. The draft is right around the corner. It's about a month and a week away.
Wow. Yeah, it's really sneaking up this year. That's for sure.
Yeah, 5 weeks. 5 weeks away from the draft.
Wow.
Gotta lock in. We're down the home stretch now. It's almost before you know it, the draft will be over. We got about a month before, if that, before they report the OTAs.
Wow.
Then you got, training camp, preseason, and then we're right back at it again.
Goes fast, right? It certainly does.
New building. Yeah.
And did you happen to catch the looks like the panels are on the front of the new building? The new Bills Stadium on New Highmark. It's looking pretty good. I want to reserve judgment how I feel about it till I see it in person. I mean, I know videos are cool and all that, but it certainly hits you different once you go to a stadium. I mean, I remember when I went to Dallas for that Thanksgiving game, Bills Cowboys in 19. That was, to me, was like Josh Allen's big moment, right? That's when he announced to the world, I'm going to be, I've arrived, right? I that 4th down scramble, he got all fired up, and Cole Beasley had a big game, but man, when I walked into that AT&T stadium with him, man, it hits different. It is like, wow, this is. You walk in there, you're like, this is a place that it's a big event. When you walk in there, it just feels different, right? And that's why I want to wait and see how the new stadium feels. I'm still gonna miss some things about the old stadium, the charm of it in its own weird way, but it's definitely gonna be weird with no Highmarks, the old Highmark next year, or Rich Stadium, or Ralph, whatever you call it. So it's gonna take some getting used to. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And we're gonna feel it in the wallet too. Those ticket prices are gonna hit a little bit harder this year too. That's for sure.
Yeah. I'm not looking forward to that, but
no, that's for sure.
That's what it is, man.
Yep. But it's going to be an exciting year. As the season starts on Wednesday this year, Wednesday night football for the Seahawks coming up the first week. If you've heard about that.
Is that the game in like Buenos Aires or something like that?
I think they're playing in Australia. I think there's a game in
Australia?
Australia on Thursday, so I think they're moving the first game of the year to Wednesday nights. So do we get an extra? Is this true? Do we get an extra OTA because we have a new head coach? Because we got OTAs coming up, but it's gonna be a little more interesting though to see.
No, it is. It is. We're supposed to get like an extra week or something like that.
I didn't know that.
It is something like that. Like you have a coaching change, a head coach change, you get like an extra week. For OTAs. Yeah, I do believe that's a thing. I don't know if it's gonna be that because it's not like Brady wasn't in the building last year. So I don't know how to.
Yeah, but that's true. I like what he said. I agree with Dog on this. This right here, unacceptable Wednesday. I can't deal with this Wednesday night football. I'm sorry. I love football, but I'm more of a traditionalist. A couple days a week for football, I'm good. It's when they start spreading it out to every day. I think it's it's the law of diminishing returns, man. I learned that in economics. It just loses a little bit. They got to be careful how far they stretch things out. So that's all I'll say. But the ratings they suggest otherwise. So maybe I'm wrong on that front, Whittle. So it just keeps rolling along. So, but listen, I don't care if the Bills win games on Tuesdays. As long as we win football games, that's perfectly okay with me.
As long as we win football games.
Exactly. Yep. Absolutely. So we're gonna have some great shows coming up about the draft. I'm looking forward to that starting next week, Whittle. We're gonna, we could definitely start. I unless some shocking move comes over the wire here in the next week or so. We did restructure DJ Moore's contract, I believe, as well, right? We freed up about $17 million in cap space, so I think that frees it up here because some of the guys we signed aren't officially on the books yet, so we got to get some money for that. So I think I'll leave us.
I think we have like $7 million, not $7 or $9 million, somewhere around there.
Yep, and then you got to count for the rookies coming up, and then some other. You want to still have a little breathing room for some other possible moves. So I'm not anticipating a major move from the Bills right now, unless there's just a lot more restructures. But let's see.
I mean, well, to be honest, we could have did was use that money and some of that money and brought it back AJ Finesse, but whatever.
Yep. Yeah. So Dog had a question with the personnel D line.
Oh yeah, that's easy, man. From left to right, it's going to be Rousseau, TJ Sanders, Deion Walker in the middle, and Oliver and Bradley Chubb. I'd love to see Chubb and Ed next to each other. Because, but then again, I kind of want to put Ed next to Rousseau because Rousseau's so great against the run, and Ed's so disruptive that Ed's going to cause issues, and Rousseau can kind of, I need Rousseau to have like 11 sacks so people would shut up, like so Bills fans would just shut up.
Yep.
Have you noticed that a lot of Bills fans are mocking Denzel Boston? Well, a lot of the mock drafts have us taking Denzel Boston at 26.
I haven't seen any latest ones. I haven't peeked at too much. Is that starting to change? So I remember I saw a lot with Concepcion, Casey Concepcion, I think from Texas A&M, but
yeah. They're saying the thought process behind it is he's more of a natural X than DJ Moore is. So that's why. But you know what? Stephon Diggs wasn't really a natural X when he got here either. So he became an X because He produced like an X.
Mm-hmm.
It was clear he could win on the outside, but I mean, it's clear that DJ Moore can win on the outside as well. I think DJ Moore will be fine at the X, but it's funny that Denzel Boston keeps getting mocked us because he's another guy that doesn't really separate. He's kind of a better version of Keon Coleman. A little faster, though. I can't wait to see what he runs at his pro day. If there's anything above 4.5, yeah, I don't want to hear anybody complaining if we draft.
Yeah.
What you guys
I feel like Concepcion's more of a separator, right, Whittle? I feel like he'd be a.
He is 100%.
You think he's a good fit?
Like he's also like 5'10".
Yeah.
He's small. I mean, would he be a good fit? Kid, he's from Rochester. His family's from Rochester or whatever. I don't know how many years he spent in Rochester growing up, but I don't know if that's, his birthplace, Rochester, New York. So I think it's a fit. Like, he's a hometown guy. He clearly, to me, it looks like he wants to play football. Like, he would like to play for the Bills. So I think he's got a great skill set. I think he separates. I think he could play anywhere. He reminds me of Jalen Waddle to an extent. Like Waddle / Addison. Like he reminds me a little bit of Addison. I don't think he's as good. Like Addison at Pittsburgh was ridiculous. Like he was ridiculous at Pittsburgh. If he would have left out of Pittsburgh, if he would have been eligible, if he would have been able to come out, if he would have came out after his time in Pittsburgh, I feel like somebody would have took him. I mean, he went in the first round anyway, but he looked like one of the best receivers in football when he was in Pittsburgh. It was unguardable. He was unguardable. Maybe it was the competition, but he was unguardable. So I don't know. He looks good. Casey Concepcion does look good. Listen, my first two receivers when I first started looking into the draft was Chris Bell from Louisville and Casey Concepcion from Texas. I love both of those. So we get them. I'd be happy with that. I like Brazil too, but I prefer. And my top guy is Chris Bell. I think Chris Bell is a true X. Reminds me of AJ Brown. That's the guy I like the most. But he's coming off of a torn ACL. I don't know how much that hurts his value. So we'll see where he ends up getting drafted. But yeah, if KC's there at 26, I think it'd be tough for Brandon Beane to pass that up. We'll see what happens. What do you think?
No, I think that would be very tough to pass on right now. I really like Concepcion so far. I was starting to be an advocate for a trade down, Whittle, but I'm just looking at the needs that we have, and maybe we don't need to do that this time around. Maybe we take best available at 26, maybe instead of getting more picks. I mean, trading down is usually a good way to go in a lot of scenarios, but I'm not sure how you feel about that in this particular draft. I mean, is it really deep after the second, third round? Is it that kind of draft where you could grab a lot of excellent talent, at those parts of the draft for what we need? But do you also think linebacker is going to be big on our radar for the draft?
I mean, it should be.
Yeah. And do you think we could possibly go first round linebacker, or do you think we look more in the second round? Or we don't have a second round pick. I apologize. So we look more in the third round in that case.
I don't think that there's a linebacker in the first round worth 26. I don't think there's anybody left. After Sonny Styles goes, I'm not as high on CJ Allen as a lot of other people. So,
I think this was true, right? Dog was asking about the strength and conditioning coaches. I believe we did.
I don't think so. I don't know. I don't know. That's a good question. Something to look into. But I don't know.
Yep, I'm gonna try to look into that for you, dog, and see if I can find that. I thought maybe we did. Trying to see if I could find a little something on that for us while we're waiting here, but I for some reason, dog, I felt like in my mind, but sometimes I think in my mind, it's like, nope, that didn't happen. So oh no, we still have the same one named Will Greenberg. He's a strength and conditioning coach. He was promoted in 2025 and he's remained in the position in 2026. So it looks like Brady did keep him.
Yeah, it tells me that they think some of the injuries had more to do with the head coach than it did the strength and conditioning.
Yep. So Brandon Beane explicitly stated that the performance staff, including Greenberg, would stay intact for the 2026 season. So we'll see. I mean, we've had our shares of injuries, but I mean, last year we really weren't, into the playoffs. I didn't really feel our injuries were a major detriment to us like other years past. So we'll see if that continues going forward.
Yeah. All right. That's all I got, man. We can
Yeah,
today.
Yeah, we certainly can. We're about 10 o'clock Eastern, and both of us, I got to give a crack at dawn. So we're going to call it short and sweet today, right around the middle of March. Just a couple items coming up. Ladies and gentlemen, Whittle, get on the bandwagon. The road to the Final Four for St. John's starts Friday night as they got the shaft with the terrible seeds, sent them out. Whittle, this is how my life works, right? I'm here in Florida, right, for the month, taking care of Pops. And, of course, they send St. John's to the tournament out in San Diego right in my backyard almost. I'm like, just can't win, Whittle. Just cannot win, right? I'd be at those games.
You would think they would give them like a South bracket.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And they're playing games here in Tampa. So, but I just hope St. John's gets to the second weekend. But ultimately, I think Arizona cuts down the nets this year. But it's one of my favorite events of the year. So we'll see, how that goes going forward. And again, look for some more great content here on our Do Champions Network. Whittle, next week, I think we could really start getting into maybe your favorite part of the year besides the season. And it's the NFL draft season. So we could really, maybe start digging into some positions. If you want to go deep on that, we could certainly do that. Thank you to Dog as well. You're the best. We love seeing you here each and every week. Still miss you on the spaces, brother. We really, really do. But, you're always with us in spirit. So no question about it. But just wanted to put that out there. Thanks to everybody else in our chat today. We had some really good commentary from K-Jack, and then we had some Nolan and Snickers, and we had some newbies as well. So it's good to see you all. Just like and subscribe to our podcast as well, please. That really helps us out as we try to grow this going forward. So, Whittle, that's really all I had for this week.
All right, well, put a bow on it.
We'll put a bow on it, and we'll be back better than ever next Wednesday around 9. And we look forward to seeing what else happens as we move. It'll be just about a month before NFL draft for the first round. So exciting time. So good night, everybody, and go Bills.
Go Bills. Unbiased pick. Buffalo wins the Super Bowl this year.
Look at that little throw in March. We got to clip that.
Why not, man? Why not?
Yeah, let's do it.
One day I'm gonna be right. One day.
I think you will. I think you will.
Hopefully so.
Absolutely, brother. Good night, everybody. Thanks again, everybody.
Love y'all, man.
Love you guys too. We'll talk soon. Good night, everyone.
Sure. All right, go Bills.